take a walk with me, not like you used to do. Do something different and put yourself in other people's shoes. Open up your mind and open up your eyes and change your direction, change your perspective.
Welcome into Other People's Shoes. I am your host, Neil. I'm with two amazing people from Rogue City Comics. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So who wants to go first? Ladies first, maybe?
Okay, I am Jamie, Ronda.
And my name's Steve, Ronda.
Nice. So, guys, tell me just a brief story. How did Rogue City Comics start? Where was the brainchild? Where was the inception process? How did it all kind of begin?
Ooh, inception.
I like that word.
I get to claim inception, but I'll let Steve tell the story because he's brief.
No, you tell it better.
Well, I've been kind of lobbying for this for I guess it was over 5 years ago, probably more like 6. While our kids were still at home, because I was hoping it might be a family business. We love board games. We love comics. And so I had to wear them down. It took about 5 years.
We were still feeding kids, so I wasn't about to open up my own business. Well, kids were wondering why we didn't have any red meat in the house.
They hate chicken now. That's all they got to eat. Now we're eating steak because we're empty nesters. Not very often, but we do.
And so now that the kids have moved out, I've been doing my last job for over 20 years and got tired of the travel and had enough money to save up to get started and pulled the trigger.
Yep.
Nice. And how long have you guys been open for?
Gosh.
9 months.
Mid-February, yeah.
February this year.
9 months.
9 months now. Okay, yeah. Awesome. So, guys, we're going to be talking about success today. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with success, but here we go. So, my very first question is, how would someone know you're successful?
So we probably have very different answers.
Yeah. Well,
for me,
that's what I love.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of my podcast really is to get it from somebody else's point of view. Walking in someone else's shoes, getting their different perspectives. So even if it is different, that makes the whole premise and point taken.
Yes. So I know for me, with the life changes that I was looking forward to with pulling the trigger on, I mean, we are students right now. We've never owned a business before. But it was something that I continued to be pulled toward because, especially as empty nesters, it just, like, I lost my favorite job, with having my kids at home. And so for me, the joy of just getting to build something together and to do something that involves being part of a community. We were kind of in a place, I think if we had stayed there, we would have just continued to be more isolated. So for me, the success part, we're going to do this as long as we're able, as long as the savings hold out, and hopefully the community, we felt like there was a need for a true comic shop. And from what we've seen, people are really enjoying having one again. And our customers are amazing. So there's so much joy in just doing something risky. Some of my favorite things in life, even though, like, marrying this guy, that was risky.
You're living on the edge.
I think even your parents would say that was probably risky.
Aerosmith has nothing on it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's some of the best moments in life are pretty scary. And I think at the end of the day, most of us would rather look back and say, you know what, I tried it. It was scary, but we went for it. And so, yeah, I think being able to take that risk, and honestly, for me, some of my most favorite things have been things that terrified me, that I knew that if God did not intervene, it could be a disaster. And so it's kind of an exercise in faith too. So, yeah.
I have never had, I like the success of business. But I always thought, if I was what I wanted to be successful in, is I wanted to first and foremost be a successful husband and father, and now that the kids have moved out, and if a job, supplied the basic needs of our lives in the meantime, that was just kind of a bonus. I've always treated my jobs very seriously, and I've been in outside sales, and I've won lots of awards in my previous jobs for sales. However, while those were nice, what I really wanted to do first and foremost was be a good husband and father, and have a job that didn't distract me from those main two goals. So I've always defined success as really how I was going to be remembered. And I heard a quote from, I don't remember if it was Zig Ziglar. I don't remember who the quote was, but I'm sure multiple people have said it, where it's like, you don't want to be on your deathbed and go, nobody ever says, I wish I would have spent more time at work. And so I have always defined success as what your work does to supplement the rest of your life.
Great answers. I love that. So this kind of builds on that a little bit. I at least I hope so. Is what's the best advice? What's the best advice someone gave you in regards to success?
Ooh. Gosh, that's a really good question. I don't know. I nothing really. I know based on what you were just saying. One of my favorite quotes that I will not remember is basically, I actually can't remember it at all. I think it was Francis Chan talking about one of the greatest tragedies in life is to be successful at the things that don't matter ultimately, which touches on what you were saying about, on our deathbed, we don't look back and go, gosh, I wish I had spent more time at work, or, it's, wow, I wish I had realized what was truly important in life. And so I think that if we can, at whatever point in life we're in, find out what truly is the most important thing, and am I investing in that? Because it's so easy, even when we feel like we're on track with our priorities, it's so easy for in the morning to wake up and totally be sidetracked because there'll be something that's urgent that maybe doesn't really line up with your life priorities, but in that moment it feels so important and it can take us off task really easy. Like sometimes I feel like I'm just a caffeinated butterfly. I'm like, ooh, I'm over here. And, or, the whole squirrel thing, like, that's kind of been the story of my life. Squirrel. I'll be going really good for a while, and then I can get so easily distracted. So that priority of, if today is my last day, if tomorrow I get hit by a bus or, choke on a scone.
Really?
Yeah. Do I?
Scones are dangerous.
How did I live this? How did I live my, am I going to be glad for the choices I made today? And will I be glad? And that's as scary as this is, because he just recently gave up this secure job he's had for over 20 years. And I have had to make a shift. It's been this very raw, kind of thing that flares up on a random basis the last few weeks. I've always felt like I'm a person of faith. I trust God ultimately across the board in my life. But wow, I have had a lot of security with the job that he had. We had a company car, we've had insurance, comprehensive insurance, and pharmaceuticals, and we're basically giving all of that up at the time in our life where people really will be looking for that. We're both about to turn 50. And so, some of that doesn't make sense just, kind of when you're just looking at the black and white of things. But the joy for me and what feels successful to me is that we're just taking this leap together. We get to spend more time together, and have this adventure that has really pushed us into this community that I adore. Our customers are amazing. And the product that we're selling, I love so much. So yeah, I just feel like, right now, for as long as we get to, we're living a dream that, it's risky and some days it's scary, but I really am so thankful that we got to the place that we're just going for it.
As far as advice goes, I wish I could.
Oh, yeah. Was that the question?
I was like, I think you just answered the next 3 questions.
I don't even know.
As far as advice goes, there's a lot of profound things that you hear all your life. But one of the earliest ones, I remember my dad, we'd get up, we were chopping wood by 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings while other kids were watching cartoons.
That was me. I was watching cartoons.
So we got up at 6 to circle in the TV guide. All right, well, Scooby-Doo's on at 6, and I don't even remember what was on at 6:30 because all I really cared about was Scooby-Doo. I just remembered when Scooby-Doo got moved to 7. Now that's chopping wood time. So the earliest success thing, my dad...
No VCRs in those?
No.
Just checking. VCRs,
no, that was it. That was it.
No, if you missed it,
you're done.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just perspective. Okay.
Sad.
Yeah, the 3 channels and 2 of them didn't work well unless you got up and moved the antenna. But no, early to bed, early to rise. It's something that I embraced mostly out of. That's how I was raised, and there was really not an option to do it otherwise. And the early bird gets the worm type, whole mentality of, don't work while others are sleeping. And then later I joined the Army. We get more done before 9 a.m. than most people do all day, which isn't always true, by the way. That whole, hey, the people who get up and get after it are the people who ultimately be successful. And I've just always kind of carried that. And like I said, there's probably 50 profound statements that I've heard throughout my life. I go, wow, that's really great too. But that was kind of just the earliest thing, is like if you get up and you get working, if you're out there, and we got 10 cents per log. So they would be 1 foot long and about 12 inches wide. And we had a mallet, and we had to split them into quarters, 10 cents. And, and you'd chop more wood all morning long. Some of them had knots in them. And you'd get $2.80, and you'd walk on down to I don't even remember what the OK Market or something. And you get your 3 pieces of candy and a bag of chips. And I know that there's no way that would cover that now. But it was a big deal. And I got to see that, hey, if I get up and I get after it early, I can see there are benefits. Back then too. Yeah. Yeah, buy comic books. Yeah, you could buy my Sergeant Rock.
That's right.
Daredevil.
Yeah, we listen to, we love guys like Zig Ziglar. I mean, he's kind of a hoot. And when with his company, they would always, send him books. And we listen to a lot of audiobooks. So we, Who Moved My Cheese, Pumpkin Plan. And I just geek out over business books. My mind is not geared the same way that Steven's is with, that sort of thing. I'm like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And
I do the math part.
Yeah,
she does.
I don't like math. I'm more about the art. Yeah. And the dreaming and the futuristic element of, oh my gosh, what if we do this? And he's my grounded counterpart.
So being that you guys are brand new to business, really on your own, not that you're brand new to the idea of business, but you've opened this business in downtown Medford. We didn't mention that, but you are in downtown Medford.
Yes.
For the massive amount of people that will hear us,
Yay!
Not only nationwide, but hopefully Rogue Valley-wide. But you are in downtown Medford. And being that you are brand new, how are you going to measure that moment where you're like, we're successful? What does that look like?
Oh,
where you can look back as a business and go, we're successful. Now we're successful. We've arrived.
Wait, I want to see how she answers
like
this.
that aha moment, right? Okay.
So,
and maybe future business owners are hearing this, or those with entrepreneurial spirit. That's a big word, by the way. Yeah. Entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe they're going to look back in this, and maybe even younger people that are coming into your store, because maybe, you have a younger clientele, and I'm guessing you probably have an older clientele, probably a little bit of both. So how would they be able to look at that and go, they've arrived, they're successful?
Okay, so for me, it's pretty clearly defined. Before we opened, I set my sights on, first of all, we have to be nominated, but I would love for our shop to win an Eisner Award.
Help me out. What is an Eisner Award?
So Will Eisner, big name in comics, San Diego Comic-Con basically has an award ceremony every year, and comic stores, there is a category, unless they kill that category before we ever have the chance to win. But you have to be open 2 years to be nominated for that. But for us, we kind of have taken a different approach with comics. This amazing space that fell into our laps really lends toward more of a gallery feel, and we wanted to really have a more minimalistic, kind of even a boutique. I've had a couple people kind of call it a comic book boutique, just because it's just a little lighter on the decor. It's probably artsy. We could jam in probably twice the product that's here, but we feel like all the work that goes into a comic book, and for me, like, I geek out over the collaboration, being parents to an artist, and she's a writer too, and knowing how personal those artistic pursuits are to writers and artists, and the fact that there's collaboration. And some of these books, there are anywhere from 7 to 20 people collaborating together for this final product, and we wanted to have a space that really honors the heart of what goes into that. And artists, they bleed for their art sometimes, and sometimes they're suffering, and that's kind of dramatic, but I love what goes into a comic book. So for me, it's not just this little floppy paper collection of, oh, look at the pretty pictures and the story. Like, to me, they're magical, and when you get one that really grabs you, whether it's one of the characters or just the art style, but when story and art can come together and create something in you, emotion or entertainment, or maybe, you're just in a patch of life where things are really hard, and that comic book is just this little piece of a happy place. It's just a little escape for just some joy. And then you can, set that aside and go back to, okay, I've got some stuff I have to tackle. But in those moments, I got to forget about the things that are weighing me down or just the hard stuff of life. And so we really wanted to create a space that is a happy place, that people would feel joy when they come here. We introduce our customers to each other. We have a lot of collectors and readers and new readers. It's been so fun to meet people who are kind of just jumping in for the first time. So we kind of just get the whole gamut of people who love books. And if you love books, I think that it's an easy kind of bend over into comics. A lot of people, my sister wanted to do an intervention when she found out what we were doing, because she was like, well, how many comics do you have to sell to actually pay the rent? Well, let's not do that math, because that would be discouraging. But with graphic novels and just, there's just so much amazing material out there across all genres. So I don't know. I just think if someone thinks they don't like comics, they just haven't found the right one yet.
Got it. So if you win this award that the San Diego Comic-Con puts on,
yep,
that's your moment. That's your gold medal, if we were going to look at an athletic standpoint, or your Super Bowl trophy.
From a material standpoint, absolutely. Okay. But in a non-tangible way, I'd say if we provide a space for however long we get to do this, where people come in and they actually feel joy, honestly, I mean, that's hard to measure, though.
Absolutely.
An Eisner Award I can measure. The other is just the beauty of getting to do what we're doing.
Got it. Steve, how would you measure your success?
Oh, mine's a little bit more mathematical.
Being the math guy that you are, I would imagine it is.
And I agree with I'm not a big awards guy. About that would be nice. The joy part, bringing joy to others, we both get a total kick out of. But bottom line is we are not going to be able to create joy if it doesn't pay the home bills.
If we're not here.
And so I don't want to make the bar sound too low for me, but if I can stay open, not work myself to death, and pay the home bills and bring others joy while I'm doing it, that's basically it. So I define success as Do people like to shop here? Are they spending enough money? Can I keep the lights on and pay, the home bills? And while doing that, not work 80 hours a week, because I've worked retail before, and the hours can get quite long.
Another shop owner said, this business, any business, will take as many hours as you give it, and we definitely see that because our list of things to do for the shop, there's no break in it. Like, we have not had, oh gosh, okay, I guess we're caught up. Like, we'll never be caught up.
Right. And we're only open 4 days a week. So, and this week was an order week. So I've been here till 9:00 every night, doing our monthly order. And so the ultimate goal is, can we be open for 4 days, give the best customer service, and still pay the store bills and our home bills, and all do it with a great attitude and be able to interact with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Great answer. So with success brings problems, does it? Does success bring problems?
Well, I think everything in life I believe that every good thing, that there's a flip side that has challenges. There are pros and cons to everything. So,
yeah, I think that basically, already we're getting busier, so I'm having to figure out, okay, what things are going to best serve my customers for the time being, because I've already figured out I can't do everything. And basically, I'm hoping that I can hone and sharpen the business in such a way, because right now, like I said, being here so late and working long hours, well, I'm kind of back in the boat where I was in my previous job. So, and I'm still learning. It's the learning process. So and we're getting more customers, which is great. So that's successful. But with the more customers now, I'm having to get here early and stay late to catch up on all the paperwork that's involved in owning your own business.
There are more things to do after hours.
There's a lot of paperwork that, I knew was going to be there, but for some reason I thought it was going to be a little bit easier.
Well, yeah, because in the beginning, before we had this level of customers coming in and the number of subscribers, we had more time to address those things. So with our success of having, getting busier and having people know we're here, we will have less time to do those, behind the scenes
administrative things.
Yeah.
So as we are getting more,
so it's a good problem.
It's a good problem. We're becoming more successful. It's almost measurable in the monthlies, where it's like, okay, it's getting bigger. But with that success now is like, oh my gosh, I'm working a lot of hours. I need to learn to streamline some of these processes to find out which ones are actually going to benefit the business and the customers, and which ones are just spinning my wheels, and honing that.
Right. Yeah.
6 things, and maybe not 6, I just picked a number, but 6 things that you feel make you guys different than maybe another comic book store.
Well, I know one is she's turned this place into an art gallery, and I've been to a lot of comic book stores.
But not stuffy. Art
galleries
kind of say,
if you haven't
don't
been here
touch
yet,
anything.
let me just say, if you haven't been here yet, I definitely invite you to come down, take a look. Even if you're not into comic books, but just come down and just get a feel for this place, because it really does. You said it yourself. It's not a stuffy feel. It's a very home feel, but it's also, everything is so neatly displayed and neatly organized and really easy to find stuff. So if you are an avid comic book person, I would definitely invite you to come down to this, because, again, you're going to find that stuff, that rare stuff. And that's my own opinion, but
that's exactly it. Is most comic book stores there's lots of piles of things and art, and the art of the book isn't easily displayed. And we've tried to set it up in such a way that it's very open and friendly, which is not necessary. We've had a couple visitors who have been big name artists who have been to a lot of comic book stores, and we had one who is a gentleman. I want to say he's in his 60s, who's worked with Jack Kirby, a big name in comics, who worked with Stan Lee, of course. And he came in and he says, "Wow, this is one of the. There's only one other place that's this beautiful. I remember this comic store, and it was in Long Beach, California." And and this guy's been all over, everywhere. doing comic book signings and different things, and he said ours is one of the beautiful, and that is a wonderful thing. So I think we stand out in that we are trying to create an open area environment is definitely one thing.
Well, with our space, so yeah, I would say it's relaxing, it's fun, it's uncluttered. I mean, occasionally
I don't know
get kind of cluttered, but for the most part, we really strive to create a space that the comics really take center stage. And even with the way that we show what's new this week, we don't have a new this week section, but we just use these awesome colored clothesline clips. What are they called?
Clothespins, right?
Clothespins, yeah.
I think that's a great touch, by the way. So talk about that. Yeah, because I noticed that too when I was downstairs.
So one of the many books that, we geek out over audiobooks and we like to just learn about stuff. And so it's just a non-distracting way that we can let people know, okay, this is what's new, but we're not going to put these labels all around the store. So that's different because most shops will have a new this week sign.
The brain processes information.
So we don't want more words.
Yeah,
we
more
want them to just notice the comic. And one of the other things that we do that many people recommended we don't is that we don't bag and board the new comics that are up. We bag and board our back issues, but we feel like we wanted to be very reader friendly. So I would say that's two words.
Yeah.
So that people could look inside.
Half the shops don't. They're very accessible, so where you can open each book, whereas some stores have them all boarded, so you have to pull them out of a bag before you even look at the book.
So we just wanted to make it accessible so that people could, maybe initially the cover art might draw someone who's not normally reading that particular title. But we want you to be able to look inside too, because very often the cover art is different from what's inside. So yeah, we did some things that I think veterans thought, oh man, those guys, they're going to learn. But it's been amazing. We have not had to throw a book away because a customer, accidentally trashed it. So, I mean, I'm a klutz, so I drop stuff.
A few, but it's like
there's a few ding and dents, but I'm klutzy, so most of that's probably my fault. But it's been amazing. People treat the books with great respect, and it's just cool. I love it.
And we're very engaging, I would say, as a third thing. And we don't have to get to 6, really. So.
You don't have to get to 6.
But no, a third thing is we really try to engage with the customers and talk about what they want to talk about. Because, well, quite frankly, half the time we want to talk about it. So if they want to talk about the latest, Marvel movie or whatever.
Oh, we learn so much,
Oh, yeah, we learn from the customers.
What people are reading, because we can't read it all. There's no way for us.
We read, but we don't read it nearly as much as we would like to.
There's so much material,
Yeah, there's a lot of books. And so we engage with the customers. We sometimes if we, sometimes we'll get multiple customers. We introduce them and they'll start talking about the comics. Go, hey, did you know so-and-so, he really loves Batman.
It's a blast.
And then, the people get engaged and they start having a full-on discussion as to, well, Batman's better than so-and-so. And, and it's like, and
sometimes
do you remember
the
that
veterans will help school some of the younger guys who come in and girls too. We get a lot of female customers. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a guy thing. It's not just a teenager thing. The spectrum just goes across everything. Females, men, all ages. And it's so great when you see one of the veterans who maybe is a collector and some young guys who are just kind of starting out reading and starting collecting back issues. And oh my gosh, it just makes me so happy when I see these connections happen and they're just talking about, and I learn every day from our customers, and it's been great. And it's a non-intimidating space too, because some people feel like they have to apologize if they come in and they don't know about either all the superheroes or about comic books. And I read as a kid. Like, I've been out of the comic book loop for a long time because, we have graphic novels at home. Steve was collecting for a long time. But once we had our babies, like we had, 4 babies at once. That was kind of everything. But so I've been on a learning curve as well with all of the new stuff that's happening. And our customers have been amazing. They love to talk about it. And I'm really thankful because I had this fear after, because we've been in a lot of different comic shops, and sometimes there is an intimidating feel that, well, if you don't know this, and we've been around gamers a lot too. And I love gamers. They're a blast. But wow, if you don't know something and I thought I was going to get grilled at least once a week, that people would be like, oh my gosh, imposter.
Don't you remember issue 57 from 1972?
Like, no.
Paragraph 6.
Right. Plus
Sentence 2.
Plus I've had concussions, so I can barely remember last week. And so anyway,
but it's a very gracious
amazing
space, and because a lot of people who open a comic book store aren't necessarily aren't always they're more of a fan of comics and not necessarily
less fans of people.
Yeah. They like say they
a lot of basement living is what you're talking.
No,
I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
No.
I would never say that.
Don't go there, Neil.
We're not saying that.
No, but they're really
But if
fans
you
of
live
comics.
in a basement, it's fine.
They're very fans
I
of
actually
comics.
lived in a basement once, so hey.
But that's a big difference of our store is not only do we like comics, we may not know as much as a lot of comic store owners, but we love talking about it, and we engage with our customers, and we get other customers who engage with customers, and it's just a fun space to geek out over your favorite heroes.
Well, and one of the driving forces for me was that we needed, like I said, we're almost 50. You can start to get kind of crotchety as you get older. And we've gotten a little isolated because of the job that he was doing, and then I was just working part-time. And like, we do love people, and we really wanted to just go, you know what? This is something that will help us stay connected to our community and to try to add something good and positive and fun into our community, because to sit back and just keep doing what we were doing, I think we would have gotten more isolated, more crotchety probably.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so it forces us to engage with people,
and
it's
fun.
So much more fun than sitting in a car for 1,000 miles a week, by myself.
Yeah.
So I have 2 more questions for you guys, and then we're going to play a game. So here's a question. It's a quote that I found along the way. Hopefully I don't mess it up, but here it is. Failure will never overtake me if I determine to succeed is strong enough. What do you think that means? Failure will never overtake me as long as I determine to be strong enough not to let it overtake me.
Okay, for me, I think that the beauty of failure, and I was just reading something about this, is we get to learn. Like if we are doing something and then we find out the way I just did that doesn't work, it can be a great teacher. So I think it's about our mindset. So if our mindset knows that, okay, we're going to experience success and failure all day long in a lot of little ways, so that if I can process and keep my mindset in the fact that, you know what, every failure is going to teach me
how to succeed.
how not to do,
how not to fail,
how not to do it, just like that. And so I don't know. I think success, plus it just means so many. It's just such a bigger word and has so much more meaning than just going, hey, we're working towards 6 figures now. I mean, that would be an easy question to go, well, how do you know you're successful? Well, how many figures do you have? But there are a lot of people who've passed on from this life who had lots of figures in their income and ultimately did not experience success. So I don't know. I think it depends on your definition and how you define it, how you approach life, what your mindset is. Basically, I don't know.
I would tweak the quote a little bit just because if I was going to...
I've never heard it.
Oh, yeah, I've heard variations of certain different statements like that, but I would tweak it as like, well, in the sense of the failures, because I've already been captured by failures. They're not life-ending failures. But I've been captured by failures already multiple times since I've opened. I go, wow, I ordered way too many of that, and I'm never going to sell it, and so I would consider that a failure. It's like I misinterpreted the community's desire for that particular book, and now I'm going to have to discount it down to nothing. So, I mean, I think that those failures capturing you is really more of a, if you let them catch you, but you're going to fail, but that doesn't mean they captured you. That means you learn from them, and then you learn to get faster, stronger, better at what you're doing at your craft and move forward.
Love it. So I figure since we're in a comic book shop, downtown Medford, come see them, Rogue City Comics, we have to have a comic book question.
All right.
So we all know DC's trying to basically, in my mind, mirror Marvel. We have the inception of the Justice League, kind of the build up to that. The prequel, which was, in my mind, and maybe in a lot of people's mind, Batman versus Superman, right? We even got introduced to Wonder Woman, which she did a phenomenal job. Yep. So I thought, what a way to kind of close it. We're going to play a game after this question, but what a way to close out our question time with this question. Batman versus Superman. Who is more successful in your mind?
I have to say, as far as the way I define success, I think Superman has more a peace of mind. Batman has so much turmoil inside. And so, I don't know. I think for me, success would be the least amount of turmoil happening inside my brain or inside my heart, and just having a peace of mind. So
I would say that based on that.
So Jamie, which one was more successful?
I would have to say Superman.
Superman's more successful.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve?
Well, based on my definition of success, while I like reading Batman comics more than I like reading Superman comics, just because Batman has a lot more turmoil, and it's more an interesting read. I like that Superman has a moral compass that he doesn't question nearly as often as Batman does, because Batman tends to be a more, the Dark Knight, the semi.
He's got better toys.
Whereas Superman, he's got a good. This is good. This is not good. And so based on it seems like, okay, well, he's following a moral compass that they're more aligned with my goals. You know what I mean? So I would have to call Superman more successful than Batman. Wow. Based on how I
didn't expect this. So.
No. Yeah, I think Superman aligns more with what I would view as successful, but I must say I do like Batman better. I mean, it's just more interesting to read.
But you said successful, not who you like better.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to play a game. This is a fun game I like to call Senseless. So I have a dice here. Hopefully that's not too annoying on the playback. So Steve, you get to go first. You're going to roll the dice.
Are you going to tell me what I'm rolling for? Or
nope,
after
just roll the dice. There you go. So you got 3.
All right.
So let me pull up my handy-dandy notes here. So, first off, how can people find you guys? We'll start there while I pull up my questions.
Do we get to talk about your outfit at all?
No, let's not. Okay. Jamie, go ahead and talk about my outfit while I pull this
up.
Okay, so Neil is awesome. We set up this time back when I thought I was going to dress up today because it's Halloween Comic Fest today, and Neil very graciously said, hey, maybe I'll wear my Buzz Lightyear costume. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
And Jamie didn't dress
he
up,
looks
so he
amazing.
shows up as Buzz Lightyear.
Right.
So when I launch my Facebook page, we'll make sure we include some photos
you look
on this.
Awesome.
So
it makes me happy.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys got to do this with me. So Steve, you rolled a 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So greatest thing you've ever smelled. Greatest thing you've ever smelled.
I wish I had gotten that one.
This is a game, as I like to call, senseless. So it's involving your senses. So it's just kind of
I already know.
Senseless kind of nonsense, but it's just fun way to wrap up the show.
I like it.
So,
depending on my mood, I would have to go with either lavender when I'm in high tension mode. I love the smell of lavender.
Lavender, okay.
Yeah, which is, I know, a little silly.
You're such a tough guy.
But most
I
of
was
the
going
time,
to say, aren't you? You said you were
Aren't you
Army?
macho?
I mean, come on.
no,
Wow.
I got tired of dirt and
He loves the
mud
flowers.
a long time.
Lavender.
No, but I like. But most of the time, I like the smell of cloves. I love the smell of cloves.
Okay.
For some reason.
Oh, were you one of those drama guys?
No, I didn't have clove cigarettes.
He
But if
was-
somebody was smoking a clove cigarette, boy, I wanted to
He
sniff
was
it.
a thespian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on.
he's
now.
an actor.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All
Yep.
right, Jamie, you're up. Here we go.
I hope I get that one because I already know what the answer is to that.
Number
Got a
5. Here we go. So number 5 is favorite thing to taste.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's pretty
Favorite
much.
thing
It's
to
pretty
taste.
much the same thing that I love
You
to
want-
smell.
Is it?
The chocolate chip cookies.
You love
Oh yeah.
these chocolate chip cookies.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Jesus smells like chocolate chip cookies. I don't know why I think that, but it's
Yeah,
just a thing
I would
I've
go with
always
Santa,
thought.
but that's another
Yeah.
story.
Well, Santa, I would picture sugar cookies and reindeer.
And reindeer, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are on Facebook, so people can
Yes.
follow you. What's the
Yes,
Facebook
please.
address?
Yes, Rogue City Comics. You can catch our silly videos every
Yes,
Tuesday
and
night.
They are. They're very funny and they're very silly. Absolutely. So Rogue City Comics is how they can find
Yes.
you and like you.
Yes.
Instagram, are you on there?
Yes, sir.
What's the Instagram following?
Rogue City Comics. We're really
This is, yeah.
we're tricky
we
like
tried-
that.
Really creative.
I told her, I said, hey, let's keep this simple.
Yeah, keep it simple.
And guess
Yeah.
what? Our .com is RogueCityComics.com.
And now, can you buy comics
together.
online through the website?
No,
Okay.
we're-
you
We
have
are
to
brick
be
and mortar.
Brick and mortar. Okay.
However, say you are a ways away or you can't get in for a while, you see something's coming out and you want us to hold it for you, you just email us is the best way. Drop us an email.
What's the email address?
Rogue City
at
USA.com.
Yeah, at USA.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people can subscribe and so that they never miss out, and they get 10% off their subscription titles and a free birthday comic and
Wow.
our undying gratitude.
Yeah.
Now, I also heard you guys do a game demo day, right?
Yes,
So talk
it's
about
awesome.
that. And-
One of our
and we'll kinda close with that.
amazing gamer friends, is an incredible teacher, and he is here on Thursdays from 4:30 to 6, teaching 2 different games, one shorter and one that maybe is a little bit longer of a game, but he is an awesome teacher, and for everyone who hates reading rules,
My
it's
hands raised.
so
You can't see it,
great.
but my hands raised.
It's so great to sit and actually play with somebody who will patiently teach you how to
Yeah,
play.
and that's why he's the greatest game teacher.
Because Steve wouldn't be that guy.
No, because he'll sit there and re-explain if you're not catching on. He's just so patient.
Like me.
He's so patient, and he's willing to show whatever types of games. And we only carry we don't carry very many games. We carry basically
favorites.
family favorites and ones that are tied to some of the comic books that we carry and
Yep.
whatnot.
Okay.
Yep,
Well, guys,
it's awesome.
thank you.
Good fun.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Thanks
Yeah.
for taking some time out of the day. I know it's already been a long day.
Thanks
We
for
did
having
this
us.
at the close of your business, and guys, I wish you all the best.
Thank
I
you
do.
so much.
And any last words of wisdom or anything you want to add promoting the business or,
I
anything else?
I would want to say thank you to the community who's been so amazing
for sure.
and who helps make us tired at the end of the week. People are like, "Are you going to open more days a week?" Like, no, we want to be awesome 4 days a week, and there's so much to
and
do
it's
right now.
Wednesday through Saturday. That's
Yeah.
what I would
Yeah,
say.
I was just going to say, so what
Wednesday
are the
through
hours?
Saturday.
We didn't
Yeah.
really talk about that. What are the hours?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 6, and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4.
Okay.
And so
And the address, just to help us out with that, too?
32 North Central.
right across from the old Woolworths building.
That's a tough word to say.
Say that
yeah,
3
all of a
times
sudden
fast.
I realized, am I going to be able to say that?
Woolworth.
Woolworths building.
Nice. Rogue City Comics, Steve and Jamie, thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you so
this
much,
is Other
man.
People's Shoes. And remember, sometimes it's nice to walk in someone else's shoes so you can get a little bit of different perspective in life.
Yes.
Thank you again, guys.
Yeah.